Good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News today, the 25th of August 2021. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. Top stories in the news tonight. UPND justifies the booing of President Lungu at Heroes Stadium. Given LUBINDA takes over the PF vice presidency as election petitions commence. The disability movement outlines its demands on the UPND administration. In international news, Algeria cuts diplomatic ties with Morocco over hostile actions. And in sports news, the government urged to revive basketball.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Hello once again, another news in detail. The Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia has called for zero tolerance on corruption in public service institutions under the United Party for National Development UPND government. Addressing the media in Lusaka Wednesday, Union President David Chiyobe has expressed gratitude to Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, who has promised to reinstate civil servants retired on political grounds during his inauguration speech. He has further called on all civil servants to work to their optimum level, stating that unproductivity in the civil service should be a thing of the past. We have more in this following report.
The civil service in Zambia is the largest employer in the formal sector, according to the International Labour Organization, ILO. However, allegations were made during the Patriotic Front administration that this sector was not operating autonomously as it had been filled with political interference. Allegations of corruption in public institutions were also high, which stated that one needed money or some form of connection to get employed in these institutions. Zambia's Republican President Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, during his inauguration speech Tuesday, expressed commitment to ensuring autonomy of the public service so as to promote professionalism. President Hichilema further promised that all civil servants who were retired in national interest would be reinstated. These statements have elated the Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia, SAWUZ. Union President Mr. David Chiyobe was speaking to the media Wednesday.
Political interference has made many government institutions to be perceived irrelevant and lose public confidence. There is indeed need to change this picture. For the people of Zambia to have confidence in the government institutions, you may be aware that the past elections, not this one, was it 2016? About 41 civil servants were retired in the national interest. And those are civil servants who may have taken serious and critical sides at the height of that campaign. Some of them risked their lives. They put on the regalias of certain parties, and when the party that took government went ahead, inaugurated, there was retribution, of which this president has clearly indicated that there won't be any retribution. But that time there was retribution. About 41 civil servants were retired because they supported the opposition. By that time it was this opposition now which have come into governance.
He further states that reviving of the country's economy will also call for mass employment of the youth in government positions, hence emphasizing the need to ensure that public institutions receive funding so that all frozen positions are filled.
Youth unemployment has a negative effect on the individual and the family, but also on the broader community in the form of serious economic and social consequences, we need to prioritize youth employment.
Mr. Chirobe has further called for the reforming of social security schemes in the country to ensure that citizens get decent funds which will allow them to venture into meaningful activities after retirement. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD, has challenged the new government under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema to fulfill the pledges it has made to the Zambian people. CTPD Executive Director Isaac Mwaipopo says the UPND has been ushered into office to bring about change, which is the theme in the party's manifesto 2021 to 2026. Mr. Mwaipopo is hopeful that the new administration will welcome constructive criticism and allow checks and balances from civil society organizations and other like-minded players both inside and outside Zambia.
We also understand at the center that there were several promises that the UPND made to the Zambian people, and some of these promises are speaking to reinvigorating the fight against corruption. They also spoke to processes of creating job opportunities, especially for the young people that turned up in huge numbers to cast their votes. Besides that, there are also promises that have been made that are speaking to stabilizing the macroeconomic environment so that we can enhance investment, both local and international investment. Well, we take a note of most of these promises. We are also alive to the fact that it will not take a day to fix the economy of Zambia, and there is need for the United Party for National Development to develop an effective communication strategy that can help the Zambian people to understand better in terms of how they plan to operationalize most of the plans that they had committed to the Zambian people.
The Opposition Patriotic Front, PF, has appointed former Minister of Justice, Given LUBINDA, as the new party's vice president, taking over from Inonge Wina. In the letter of appointment dated 24th August 2021, Party President Edgar Lungu says he is confident that with a vast political experience, charisma and intellect which Mr. LUBINDA possesses, he will help him steer the party to political vibrancy. The former head of state adds that the party has just gone through a disappointing general election, which has left members of the party shocked and with many unanswered questions. Mr. Lungu says party leaders are now expected to immediately start rebranding, restructuring and rebuilding the party to ensure that it withstands the challenges that lie ahead. Opposition Patriotic Front former National Mobilization Committee Deputy Spokesperson Bizwa Mutale has dismissed assertions that he has resigned from the party. Mr. Mutale is surprised that the letter of congratulations he wrote to President Hakainde Hichilema has been misconstrued and is the basis for the false reports. In his letter of congratulations, Mr. Mutale expressed his willingness to contribute to any action that would foster national development and unity. He added that he expected warm and cordial working relations between the Patriotic Front and the United Party for National Development, UPND.
And also my message, I wished him well. And I also praised that between the Patriotic Front and UPND to work together on a good relationship for the betterment of our people and development and unity in our country. It does not necessarily that we all have to move. We need to coexist. And we need to understand that this time is the time for UPND, and UPND need to be congratulated and given the space that they deserve to deliver their mandate. I cannot wish them bad luck by any means. We have got one country, one president, and that president now is President Hichilema Hakainde. We need to pledge the working relationship together as Zambians. We have got loyalty to our country. The president that has been sworn in is our president, all of us in Zambia. And I wish to inform the people that the message circulating is not a correct message and it's a wrong message. Please desist to a false message that is circulating in the room. I'm a full-time member of Patriotic Front and I always be the Patriotic Front.
United Party for National Development, UPND Deputy National Youth Chairperson in charge of politics, Trevor Mwinde, has distanced the party from the booing of former President Edgar Lungu at Heroes Stadium. Mr. Mwinde explains that the booing could be solidifying the core by the UPND, that power belongs to the people, hence the need for leaders to put the people first above self. And Mr. Mwinde has described the leadership of President Hichilema as a team endowed with competence, consistency and wisdom, adding that with time, change in many sectors of the economy will be seen.
As youths, we want to distance ourselves from the booing of former President of Zambia, Edgar Lungu. It's probably one of the ceremonial send-offs that which the Zambian people, because in no and particular order can we associate the booing of the former Republican president to a political party, because the people that were in the stadium represented a population of all Zambians from all affiliated different political parties. So as UPND youths would like to say, in one way or the other, it also sends a signal. That's why our president emphasized that the power belongs to the people. We are aware we are getting into the center stage of leadership of this country. And then we are also aware that at some day and some time and season in life, we will be able to come out of that stage.
In another development, United Party for National Development Alliance Media Director Tabo Kamana has advised UPND critics to relax and wait for the party to settle as it is in the transition period. He was reacting to a Facebook post by a Patriotic Front sympathizer, Rafo Nakachinda, stating that President Hakainde Hichilema's ignorance and paranoia is a danger for state institutions. Mr. Kawana says people should give the party in power time, as he re-echoed the party's stance on empowering the youths, especially those that have been removed from the streets. We have more in this report.
Former Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, Raphael Nakachinda, Tuesday morning, took to social media with a long write-up stating that President Hakainde Hichilema's ignorance and paranoia is a danger for state institutions. Mr. Nakachinda, who is also embattled Movement for Multi-Party Democracy member, observes that the inauguration ceremony was seen with his personal security taking center stage without state agencies taking part. However, United Party for National Development Alliance Media Director Tabo Kawana has called on all critics of the UPND to relax, as it is too early to demonize a government that just took over a day ago.
Raphael Nakachinda should relax. We are still in a transition. A transition is not an event that takes place in one day. A transition is what takes over a period of time. And we are still transitioning. So to think that we can just go to sleep and wake up the next day and begin to trust the same policemen that were sent to raid the president's house, that were sent to tear gas the president, that were sent to arrest the president, that were sent to harass and inflict violence upon the president, and the next day you wake up and say, now I'm in power, I've trusted you. It doesn't work like that. It's a transition. It takes a period. Remember that we are also aware that there are a lot of PF cadres that are in police uniforms. They are not necessarily police, but they are PF cadres clad in police uniforms. So how do you distinguish them? We need to root out. The police know who police are. They know who the thugs are. They know who the cadres are. So we have to root out everybody and bring back sanity in the institution of police and many other government institutions.
Meanwhile, Mr. Kawana has also assured party cadres and members of the general public that government has a robust plan to better the lives of the youths using agriculture, among other interventions, soon to be revealed.
Yes, you have moved the cadres out of the streets, out of the markets, out of the bus stops and so on, but where to next? Like we said, we as a UPND Alliance government are going to implement many programs, among them the Agriculture Support Program, which is a big program that encompasses a lot more other things. FISIP is only but a small component of it. It is a program that encompasses a lot more other things, marketing, financing in agriculture, processing in agriculture. So many industries are also expected to come up, while as marketing will also involve farmers having the ability to be able to export their products and so on. So there's a lot that will happen at that macro level, and it will assume a lot of people that will be employed in agriculture, and among them is the same cadres that were taking off the streets.
President Hichilema took over the mantle of this country yesterday, 24th of August, 2021. Sharon Kalimula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And United Party for National Development losing mayoral candidate for Lusaka, Victor Nyasulu, has filed a court petition against the newly elected PF Lusaka mayor in the local election tribunal, seeking a declaration that the Lusaka mayor election was void. In this matter, Mr. Nyasulu has cited Ms. Chitangala and the Electoral Commission of Zambia as respondents respectively. Mr. Nyasulu further wants the court to determine that Patriotic Front winning candidate Chilando Chitangala was not duly elected as Lusaka city mayor because of the irregularities that took place at Mandevo Totaling Center. We have more in this report.
Losing the seat from his main rival in the just-ended general election, United Party for National Development losing candidate for Lusaka mayor, Victor Nyasulu, has petitioned the newly elected Lusaka City Mayor, Chilando Chitangala, before the court. Mr. Nyasulu, in his petition before the local election tribunal, alleges that the poll on the 12th of August was rigged and wants a recount. Ms. Chitangala, who was contesting on the Patriotic Front ticket, scooped the Lusaka mayoral seat, beating her closest rival, Mr. Nyasulu, with 278,687 votes, while Mr. Nyasulu had 267,981 votes. But according to the petition, Mr. Nyasulu wants the court to declare that Ms. Chitangala was not duly elected and that the election was void, citing irregularities that took place during the counting of votes. He has submitted before court that on the evening of the 12th to the 13th of August 2021, violence broke out at Mandevo Totaling Center, where some of his agents were beaten. And this provided an opportunity for malpractice at the center, and though he informed the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they never called for backup power or take his request for a recount seriously, adding that a mayoral ballot box was exposed to theft and or suffering at a fracas at Mandevo Totaling Center. In his submission before court, Mr. Nyasulu further alleges that a man at Nakatindi Hall was caught tampering with the mayoral votes. In his petition, Mr. Nyasulu has cited Ms. Chitangala and the Electoral Commission of Zambia as the first and second respondent, respectively. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And in a related development, Patriotic Front Shiwangandu Member of Parliament Stephen Kampyongo's re-election has been petitioned by UPND losing candidate Albert Munanga before the Lusaka High Court. In his petition before court, Mr. Munanga has cited Mr. Kampyongo and the Electoral Commission of Zambia as respondents. In his affidavit verifying petition before court, Mr. Munanga states that the elections in Shiwangandu were not free and fair due to widespread malpractices, vote buying, bribery and corruption by Mr. Kampyongo. He has further submitted that Mr. Kampyongo was seen on election day giving cash handouts of 20 kwacha notes to voters on their way to various polling stations as an inducement to vote for him. The petitioner wants the court to declare the said election in Shiwangandu void. Social media commentator Simon Chitambala Mwewa has been dragged to court by his tenants who are seeking an injunction restraining him from evicting them from stands that they have rented for over 18 years. According to the statement of claim filed in the Lusaka High Court, Mulenga Chanda and 20 others who are joint traders have challenged the eviction notice written by Chitambala Mwewa. The plaintiffs state that they have been at all times joint traders at Simoson Building at stands number W34C and W6 Simon Mwewa Lane, Lusaka. They also note that they are joint traders of phones and phone accessories, among other various merchandise, and have from time immemorial never failed to pay rental charges for the 18 years that they have occupied the said shops. Chanda states that they have been paying rental charges at 4,900 kwacha for stand number W6 and 970 kwacha at stand number W34C per month, and sometimes they would pay rentals in advance, but noted that Chitambala issued an eviction letter with intent to remove the plaintiffs from the said stands. Disability Movement has outlined its demands to the United Party for National Development government partnering to disability inclusion. The Zambia Federation of Disability Organization, ZAFOD, is urging the government to facilitate the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. ZAFOD President Paul Mbewe regrets that despite Zambia being part of the Global Summit in 2018 hosted by the United Kingdom, where commitments were made, Zambia has not implemented any safeguards for persons with disabilities. Meanwhile, Disability Rights Watch Chairperson Grace Nkua has implored the government to build consensus around the Constitution to allow an electoral system that will facilitate inclusion.
Take recognition and draw inspiration from your commitment to the governance of this great nation by the rule of law and with respect for human rights. We called this press conference to share some of our expectations from the new government to the disability movement as they govern. We wish to applaud the Zambian people for turning up en masse to uphold our ever-growing democratic culture, which has made Zambia the envy of the region and indeed the world. Mr. President, sir, your inaugural speech at the National Heroes Stadium yesterday was inspiring, especially on your pledge to run a more inclusive government. Our desire as persons with disabilities for such a government cannot be overemphasized.
Mr. President, sir, as you begin to establish an independent electoral commission of Zambia, we would like to draw your attention to the High Court judgment, Sarah Brotherton versus the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, in which the ECZ was ordered to provide for an inclusive electoral process. We strongly believe that you will commit to the actualization of this process. We further appeal to all political parties to ensure inclusivity in their party structures, manifestos, and adoption of candidates. We appeal to the media, you people here, to play a pivotal role in raising awareness on the rights and special needs of persons with disabilities, and that disability is not inability.
Cheshire Homes and its cooperating partners have called for inclusivity in the education sector. Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia Director Kamima Nguni says the government needs to come up with proper legislation that will fully support inclusive education countrywide. Mr. Nguni, however, notes that significant improvement has been recorded, but that more still needs to be done. He made the remarks during a dissemination meeting of research findings on inclusive education. We'll have more in the following report.
Education is a fundamental right but has turned into a privilege for persons living with disability. In Zambia, a study in 3 provinces was conducted to ascertain inclusivity in schools for learners with disability, which shows a significant improvement with more room for improvement. Speaking on the sidelines of the meeting, Cheshire Home Society Director Kamina Nguni says cooperating partners will now be able to lobby for funds and better policies from respective government bureaus to support inclusive education. Among the areas where the research was done is Lusaka, Eastern and Southern provinces.
So one of our approach we use is to train trainers of trainers, who are the DEBs or maybe the head teachers, to roll out to the fellow teachers. So we've seen that the passion and the eager by the teachers themselves to support inclusive education, despite us not being there. Yeah, so we've we can see that the government have positively accepted it and they're implementing it. Yeah, of course, we don't have a policy on inclusive education, so that's the area where we're advocating. If we can have a policy which can really help us in terms of some of the issues which are not there to be included and can be implemented. Because if we have a policy also in terms of funding, I think it will be something which will be done.
Mr. Ngoni adds that government needs to start providing proper learning devices which will help learners get educated.
It's important the government also allocates resources to provide teaching and learning materials and also provide assistive devices, because some of the children are lucky some of these assistive devices, for example, wheelchairs, crutches, specs, walking kits, and so on. So if these are provided and are made very cheap so that parents can manage to buy, most of the time they're very expensive. And we, as Social Homes out of Zambia, we try to buy them, to provide for them, for those children on the program. But some of the children do not go to school because they lack some of these assistive devices. So it's important that these are made available and they are cost effective.
Meanwhile, Esther Kamara, one of the students, also conducted a research and brought the recommendations on the table.
So one is the one that does not have a special education unit. Because what happens is if the child comes into school on day one, usually at grade 1 or preschool, if the teacher is properly trained on inclusive education, it should not be a problem in terms of incorporation. Now, one of the debates that usually comes out is the ability of the children to actually learn. And we I think as people in the education field, we need to be okay with some learners not thriving academically, which is usually the debate. Some learners can be put in classrooms where they're experiencing inclusive education in mainstream classrooms, but why they are there is not for academic progression. It is for independence, it is for socialization, being part of that community.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The National Albinism Initiative Network of Zambia has called on the public to desist from killing albinos for ritual purposes. Speaking during a press briefing, organization president MOROCCO Piri says government should put up concrete policies that will safeguard the lives of every person living with albinism in the country. Details in the following report.
On the 25th of August 2021, we saw police in Chipata having instituted investigations into the suspected ritual murder of an albino whose body was found without a tongue, arms and eyes. The information confirmed by Eastern Province Police Commissioner Lakson Sakala, where the deceased, aged between 17 and 20 years, was murdered by unknown suspects. Due to such reports, National Albinism Initiative Networking of Zambia has called on the public to stop killing albinos with an aim of getting rich.
Because Tanzania position my killings, but the government of Tanzania in strong measures, strong measures. But the issues are many are so within today, the challenge, albino community na challenge, mapani chojo na nopeka wana kuma school bayopa. Kuti mwana watu za mji wa kwanje. But government ilikuwa iti, NGOs walikuwa iti, churches, kwa Zambia zikisi nation. So this appeal ku government hapa itianganepo. Vena na chino chonga kufuna na hivi na ministry. Because kwanga ministry because already kulima ministry osiana siana. Government yamena choka kunesa create ministry of religious, ministry of fisheries. Tuna mini kwa gago ministry of albinism na disability yangarako ministry. Because ministry yangarako tazio kuti kuri also present mjani parliament.
On the other hand, the program manager Jochi Wale says people should not discriminate albinos as they are also equally humans, and calling on the new government to include them in matters concerning the nation.
So the government under leadership yaba HH turero mbako kwebati na kwebene batwiteko ngabantu twachura sana palira pafula ngana pafula omwana alalira ngabalinanga twali mperevere so turero mbako ba HH na kwebene a person living in albinism but pere kwebere na kwebene tumfwe ko kwene pale shitabonse kuchita enjoy muchalo chesu cha So ekintu kyetwefa ukabye tefa ebintu fichinje mwewe sutevyo emkwai so ama lotions bachiranda kale ba director taturefo kwe batureromba ma lotions ifintu filith yesu tureromba beginga awe shita beginga yali tutakale turefo kubomba propine ba speech ba pere ba kuda futitabaka sho muntu uri wonse weza ule muneka walire mana waba mutei fili yonse.
And the mother has called on people to stop using albinos.
They are using our children to get rich, which are not good. So we're appealing to the government that you should stop giving drama using and then you find that someone is getting rich over my child. We say no to that.
Everyone is created equal despite of skin color. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913-000-182-5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. An energy expert, Johnson Chikwanda, has hailed the pronouncement by President Hakainde Hichilema that his administration will transform Zambia into an energy surplus country. In his inauguration speech, President Hichilema indicated that transforming the energy sector will be achieved by implementing an ambitious energy investment plan and broaden the energy mix. Mr. Chikwanda says this is achievable and that the new government has an opportunity of being the administration that will actualize Zambia's aspirations of being a significant energy surplus country and dominate the export market. He has since called upon the international consultant who has been working on the electricity cost of service study to expedite their work and submit the report.
The new administration has got a huge and rare opportunity of actualizing Zambia's aspiration to enter the electricity export market, because at this particular time load shedding has ended, so much of the projects that are coming are going to entrench and consolidate Zambia's aspirations as an energy exporter. To this end, and in order to aid the actualization of the plans for the new administration, I am calling upon the international consultant who was engaged to study and conclude the electricity tariffs plans for Zambia, otherwise called the cost of service study. We need this report to be finalized quickly because this is the report that will inform and guide the various tariff structures for Zambia.
Agents of Change Foundation Zambia Executive Director Mutetelanu Kalamu says, has observed that with proper utilization, the Salaula industry is a critical catalyst to the growth of the fashion industry. A group of local tailors, with the help of a Netherlands-based social designer, have embarked on an initiative of recycling Salaula clothes into unique designs. Queen of Chitenge Fashion Executive Director Messi Mukopa says creativity is vital in utilizing the Salaula business, which was blamed for the lack of growth of the local fashion industry.
The Salaula business has for a long time provided a livelihood for many citizens in Zambia. People are able to earn a living through the sale of second-hand clothes. In Lusaka, issues in the past emerged over Salaula market distorting the local fashion industry, and that was before the Chinese came on board to worsen things with their cheap but not so durable wear, as mostly referred to by the locals. People are finding ways to cope with Salaula, and a group of local tailors, with the help of stakeholders, have embarked on an initiative to recycle Salaula clothes into unique designs. They showcased their designs.
But now, just want to encourage some people, because the Salaula things can last more than a Chinese thing. They can buy material from Salaula and they make whatever they want. The Salaula nowadays, they're coming, they are new. As you can see it, we've got a lot of good materials coming from the Salaula. So, as tailors, they are designers outside there. Let's not just stick by making alterations, maybe making some zigzags for people, maybe folding chitenges. No, we can actually make our own designs using the Salaula. They are so specially very good material into Salaula.
A Netherlands-based local designer shared with Camnet News the energy behind her motivation.
The thing that sticks to my mind is that the tailors that I've met here, they told me, like before I was making, creative designs using chitengi or other materials, and now today I'm only altering Salaula, so making trousers smaller, fixing holes, and they don't use their creativity anymore. So therefore I said, okay, but actually what you're already doing, you can also use your creativity, you can also create new designs.
Agents of Change Foundation Executive Director Mutalulenu Kalama says the concept can help create safe environment and jobs.
The new Salaula project highlights one way in which you can reuse clothes, because when it comes to climate change, we're talking about reusing, recycling of the materials that we have in our environment. And the new Salaula talks about how we can reuse this clothing. When you buy the Salaula materials, you make something that will be durable.
Queen of Chitenge Fashion Executive Director Messi Mokopa says creativity is vital for the fashion industry to remain afloat.
We're talking about Salaula. Salaula is something that is not going to go away. It's a big challenge on our fashion industry, but again, it is an opportunity. Like you've seen what the tailors did. They made something new out of the Salaula. So I think it's something that we as fashion designers should pick up and try to work with Salaula.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Environmental and Public Health Union of Zambia, EPU's President Maxwell Chisase has urged the general public to be mindful of waste disposal. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Chisase says it is disheartening to see indiscriminate dumping of waste. Meanwhile, Human Street Health Aid Zambia Director Edgar Silwemba has expressed disappointment that people littered the Hero Stadium during the inauguration ceremony on Tuesday.
Speech, it was clear that we all have to take hands and join hands to develop this nation, and we don't just have to let the efforts be in the government hands. We need to take a decisive role, and responsibility is one thing which all Zambians need to have. It's so easy to pick a bottle or to drop a bottle in a bin, but this is something which Zambians usually fail to do, and I'm calling upon all Zambians, well-meaning-for Zambians, to protect what we have already, because this infrastructure costs a lot of money to erect, and it will be very, very, very saddening to start planning on building another stadium when we destroy what we have already. So we've been cleaning, but we observe that a lot of things have been damaged around the stadium, which is not a good thing. So we are hoping that going forward, more youths will actually be more responsible. Let's be more responsible so that we reduce on the costs of rebuilding the nation, because
we as Zambian youths to help out cleaning the Hilo Stadium. Yesterday we had inauguration ceremony of the 7th President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Yesterday a lot of people were in a mood of celebration and a lot of waste were left. And looking at the environment here, we have seen that a lot of waste were left, and we have come here to help out cleaning the environment and Hilo Stadium. And this stadium, it is for us Zambians. We need to take care of our environment, and whenever we throw out waste, let's ensure we throw the waste in the actual sites and we use the bins and the bins which are provided, so that we can also protect the environment.
The Zambia Road Safety Trust has called on road users to be mindful of children who are found by roadsides by minimizing on the speed when they are driving in more densely populated localities. In an interview with Camnet News, the program officer Milo Simwale has encouraged the drivers to exercise patience when they are driving within such locations so as to avoid road traffic accidents. We have more in the following report.
Every year, the lives of approximately 1.3 million people are cut short as a result of a road traffic accident. Between 20 and 50 million people suffer non-fatal injuries, with many incurring a disability as a result of their injury. Road traffic injuries cause considerable economic losses to individuals, their families, and to the nation as a whole. Zambia Road Safety Trust Program Officer has called on road users to consider children found along roadsides by minimizing on the speed when they are driving in more densely populated localities.
It's difficult for the children like to walk, and especially that we don't have proper walkways that are dedicated for pedestrians or even the people that are disabled. So it's really important that motorists exercise patience, especially when they see young people or the elderly, as they try to do a simple activity just to cross the road from one end to the other. I think that is very important.
He says with schools opening, a lot of children would want to cross the road.
Road safety trusts, we notice with the concerns, and especially that schools are opening now, and we expect a lot of young people, especially school-going children, to be back to school. And as you are aware that the government has put in place laws and regulation to ensure that all road users are safe on our roads.
Road accidents have become very common nowadays. As more and more people are buying automobiles, the incidences of road accidents are increasing day by day. Blessing Shakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Media Liaison Committee has rejected the idea that the Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA, should start regulating print media apart from its mandate of regulating electronic media. Liaison Committee Chairperson Enoch Ngoma says giving more powers to the IBA will make it more punitive than it has ever been. Mr. Ngoma says the IBA should instead be reformed such that it becomes more useful to media development as well as make the institution less vulnerable to political abuse, as was the case with the previous regime. And Mr. Ngoma has challenged the media in Zambia to become truly independent, in line with President Hakainde Hichilema's call for an independent and free media. Details in this report.
The last 5 years had witnessed infringement in the freedom of the media, which saw the closure of media institutions that did not seem to favor the former administration. While the media is tasked with the responsibility of informing, educating and entertaining the masses, information gathering should not be a problem in a democratic state such as Zambia, as was the case in the last couple of years. In a speech delivered by President Hakainde Hichilema during his inauguration Tuesday, the head of state has promised that during his reign, the media will enjoy the independence and freedom that it deserves and challenge the media fraternity to ensure that its self-regulation process is concluded.
The fourth estate, as I said, the media will be free. For you, the media, you will be truly free. You will operate independently without looking over your shoulder. Who is tear gassing you? Who is shutting down your radio station? Who is shutting down your television station because you say something that we do not have?
And in reacting to this commentary, the Media Liaison Committee has challenged the media in Zambia to become truly independent in line with President Hichilema's call for an independent and free media.
The Media Liaison Committee, therefore, urges media houses and journalists to heed to the presidential challenge by becoming truly independent. We, as Media Liaison Committee, particularly call on the public media, the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, the Times of Zambia, the Zambia Daily Mail, to heed to the presidential call by ensuring that they give fair, equal and balanced coverage to all citizens, including those with divergent or critical views.
The committee has also called for a speedy enactment of the Access to Information Bill and the repeal and harmonization of the IBA and ZNBC Act. Mr. Ngoma argues that the IBA's mandate and role should be clearly spelled out, particularly on closures and suspension of operating licenses for electronic media houses.
The Media Liaison Committee totally rejects the idea that the IBA, apart from regulating the electronic media, should also start regulating print media. If this is adopted in the repealed IBA Act, then it shall not be in the best interest of the media fraternity in Zambia, especially that ZAMEC will soon be in operation with a legal mandate to regulate all journalists and media outlets.
The committee has since pledged to conclude the media self-regulation framework by ensuring that the draft Zambian Media Committee's ZAMEC bill is quickly enacted into law. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back, and in international news, Algeria is cutting diplomatic ties with Morocco, accusing it of hostile actions and citing a list of grievances, including Morocco's reconciliation with Israel. Morocco has described the move as expected but completely unjustified. In other news, the trial of the hidden debt, one of the biggest corruption scandals in Mozambique, which has plunged the country into a serious financial crisis, and is embarrassing even the top of the state, opened on Monday in Maputo prison. 19 people accused of blackmail, forgery, embezzlement, and money laundering for amounts of several million euros are to be heard in hearings scheduled over nearly 2 months. Among them is the son of former President Armando Guebuza, Ndambi Guebuza. Here is a roundup of global news.
After months of high tensions between Algeria and Morocco, Algiers announced the cessation of diplomatic relations with Rabat. The government accuses Moroccan Kingdom of constantly carrying out hostile action against the country, of waging war against the Algerian people and of its leaders. Algeria rejects to be subjected to such acts and behaviors. Algeria also rejects the logic of unilateral policies with their disastrous consequences on the people of the Maghreb region. Algeria rejects to maintain abnormality, which aims at retaining the countries of the Maghreb region with a constant state of insecurity. The Kingdom of Morocco had criticized the move by Algeria and labeled it completely unjustified but expected unilateral decision. The enemies of the kingdom do not want Morocco to remain the free, strong and influential nation it has always been. Algiers also accuses Rabat of complicity in the huge forest fires that have killed at least 90 people in the north of the country, in Kabylia. In the Moroccan capital, the inhabitants expressed their regret regarding this break in diplomatic relations. It's a bad decision. There's no reason to do it. It's like cutting off relations with your neighbors who live next door. We're all part of the Maghreb Union. Algeria, Tunisia, we're all the same. There's no difference. Cutting the links, it only happens at the level of the government. Relations between Algiers and Rabat have been fraught in past decade, especially over the flashpoint issue of the disputed Western Sahara. Morocco considers the former Spanish colony an integral part of its kingdom, but Algiers has backed the Polisario movement, which seeks independence there.
فقد قررت الجزائر قطع العلاقات الدبلوماسية مع المملكة المغربية ابتداء من اليوم، كما يرهن بصفة خطيرة حاضرها ومستقبلها، وعليه فإن هذا الرد الجزائري العلني والرسمي حيال التوجه العدائي المغربي يبرز ضرورة الاحتكام العاجل لمنطق العقل عوض الرهان على الأسوأ الذي يبدو للأسف الشديد أنه يشكل مبعث مواقف المملكة المغربية تجاه الجزائر. وفي كل الأحوال ترفض الجزائر أن تخضع لسلوكيات وأفعال مرفوضة تدينها بقوة.
The accused, dressed in jeans and jackets, made their way to the makeshift courthouse erected in the Makava High Security Prison compound in Maputo on Monday morning. It is the start of the so-called hidden dead trial in which 19 people, including the son of former President Armando Guebuza, are accused of stealing millions of dollars in borrowed state funds. The country's courts were deemed too small to accommodate the dozens of lawyers, witnesses, and 250 journalists accredited to cover the case. Between 2013 and 2014, 3 Mozambican state-owned companies took out nearly 1.8 billion euros in secret loans from Swiss and Russian lenders to finance maritime surveillance, fishing and shipyard projects. The operation is said to have covered up a vast enterprise of corruption in which ruling party officials, government ministers and the business and security elite in the country benefited. The affair broke in 2016 when the government revealed it had taken out loans without informing Parliament or donors. The revelation forced the IMF and donors to suspend funding, plunging the Southern African country into a financial crisis. South Africa on Monday announced that it was extraditing former Finance Minister Manuel Chang to Mozambique. Chang is accused of pocketing millions in kickbacks and is wanted for trial by the authorities. He was arrested in the country in 2018.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, Thunder Hills Youth Academy basketball coach Chansa has called on government and other stakeholders to fund other sports disciplines like basketball. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Chansa says basketball is not popular in Zambia due to lack of funding by those charged with the responsibility of managing sports in the country. More in the following report.
Basketball, game played between 2 teams of 5 players, each on a rectangular court, usually indoors. Each team tries to score by tossing the ball through the opponent's goal, an elevated horizontal hoop, and a net court basket. However, in Zambia, the sport discipline is not given much significance as to compare to football. Camnet Sports, in an interview with a Thunder Hills Youth Academy basketball coach, Chansa, discovered some reasons as to why the sport is less popular in Zambia.
It had the same support that soccer has. It could really impact because we have young kids growing up loving the sport, but they have like a mentality in the common of saying basketball could become a pereka. So if we had a change of thinking up there from our leaders helping us, trying to promote the sport, not just football, it can really help. because sport as itself, it really changes youths starting from their early age. Because I myself, I never had time to like drink, smoke.
Chancer says people should join basketball at a tender age.
I see myself trying to raise a drug and alcohol-free community. I see myself trying to use the sport of basketball to push people, young kids, youths, to school. Imagine if you can tell a young kid who loves basketball to say, if you don't do well at school, you can join a team.
He has called on the new government to put in resources that will help the sport grow. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
That basketball note brings us to the end of the news, but we'll take a look at the top stories once again. UPND justifies the booing of President Lungu at Heroes Stadium. Given LUBINDA takes over the PF Vice Presidency as election petitions commence. The disability movement outlines its demands on the UPND administration. And in international news, Algeria cuts diplomatic ties with Morocco over hostile actions. In sports news, the government urged to revive basketball. The Camnet World Verse of the day is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 16 to 17, and it reads, "Therefore we do not give up. Even though our outer person is being destroyed, our inner person is being renewed day by day. For our momentary light affliction is producing for us an absolutely incomparable eternal weight of glory." On that note, we come to the end of the news. Thanks for watching Camnet TV. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.